welcome to the channel. So today's video is about another lead code problem, which is swapping the nodes in the pairs. So first of all, we will read the problem statement, in which they basically says that we have to swap every two adjacent nodes. Like we have to swap basically the adjacent nodes, like this and this will be get swapped, and this will be get swapped. So they are basically saying that we have to solve this problem without modifying the values in the list. This is a very important constraint. um, and the other thing, they are saying that if you don't have to modify the values, obviously, so what we have to do is we have to modify the linked list. Like we have to basically change the nodes, we have to change the connections between the nodes. Okay, so I hope you get it what the question is all about. So let's just quickly go to the approach, like how do we solve this problem. Right, so the problem itself seems to be pretty tricky and difficult, but I will make sure that I will make the explanation pretty easy. So first of all, this if is doing what, like if you are given head, you know if the head is containing nothing, like if you are given a empty linked list, right, or if you have been given just one node, the head's next is null. Suppose if the head is pointing to this node, right, head is pointing to this having some random value, and head's next, like this is the node towards which the head is pointing, and its next is null. So it means that we have only one node, so we will return the head, right. We will return, for example, head has its address, and its address is, for example, 100 x 100, right. So head will return this address, like which is pointing to the first node of the linked list, right. So this is pretty much, I think, cleared. So I will erase this so it doesn't cause confusions. Okay, so next I am I am just declaring here three pointers. We can call these dummy pointers. One is previous, current, and next ptr, right. So these are basically very useful, and these are very helpful in maintaining the addresses, and we can work with them quite easily. So there is one thing which I'm doing here is that I am moving the head one step further. So head was previously pointing to 1. Now head will point to its next, which is basically this value, right. Head will point to this. Now we will quickly go to the while loop. So in the while loop, we are basically, so this means that if the current is not having null, and the next ptr is not having null, so we will go further in the while loop, right. So they are basically saying that we have a current which I have previously declared, and it's pointing to the head, like it has the same address as the head has, and the next ptr is at heads next, right. So I will use c for current, so I don't have to mess the things here, and I will use n for next ptr, right, next ptr. So I can write here that I will be using n for next ptr and c for current. Okay, current is here, curr, right. This is current, and this is previous, obviously. Okay, so moving on to this, which will basically which is basically doing the whole thing. Okay, so what we are doing is next ptr's next. Okay, so at first current is pointing to this, and next ptr is pointing to this. Obviously this is pretty much clear, right, as we have appointed these things here. So first of all, our current's next value will be given to currents next. So currents next will becomes which is basically the current next ptr's next. So next ptr next is basically 3. So currents next will be pointing to this 3, right? Okay, so this is basically clear. This will this link will be removed, and next ptr next become current. Okay, so next ptrs next will be given the value of current, so it will point to current, right? And this is a while case if the previous is not equal to null. In our case right now our previous is null, so we will not go into this if statement, right? Or maybe we will go in the next iteration, let's see. Okay, so previous, so current's value or address, because pointer store addresses, so current's address will be given to previous, right? Okay, so right now our previous is at null, so previous will have the value same as current. I can say that here is our previous, right? So here is our previous where there is current. Okay, so next current will move to its next, and you know that current is right here, it will move to its next, so this is basically the next current's location. Okay, so next, if the current is not equals to null, obviously our current is not equal to null, current is pointing to this 3, so next ptr equals to current's next. Now current's next is basically this, right? So here is our next ptr. Okay, so I have completed one iteration. Now I will rewrite this linked list what we have done till now, so that it doesn't cause any confusion. So our age is pointing to 2, and 2 is pointing to this 1, and 1 is pointing to this 3, right? And 3 is pointing to 4. Okay, so this is pretty much clear. Now our n is yani, our next ptr is at 4, and our current is at 3, and our previous is at 1. Okay. Okay, so on to the next iteration. We have seen that our current is not at null, and neither our next PTR. So our currents next will get the value of next PTRs next. So currents next will have the currents next will go over here, right? It is pointing to null. Now next PTRs next, this is next ptr next will point to current according to this, right? And if the previous is not null, obviously our previous is not null, it is pointing to 1, so previous next will have the value of next ptr, right? So previous next will have the value of next ptr. Okay, so our previous next will point to this thing, right? Okay, so next previous will have the value of current. Okay, so we will cut the things from here, and I will write p, a small p here, and current will go to its next, current will go to its next, and if the current is not null, then current's next value will be given to next ptr. So current's next value, current is right here, current's next value is given to next ptr. Okay, so I will again draw this right at the bottom, so it doesn't cause any confusion. Okay, so you know that I have drawn these arrows. One will one is pointing to 4, and 1 is pointing to 4, 4 is pointing to 3, and 3 is pointing to null. So you can easily do this if you dry run these things and you rewatch this video again and again. So uh, the simple thing is you basically made the arrows in a very clear way. Dry run these question multiple times. Okay, so basically we have achieved the we have achieved successfully um, the swapping nodes thing. So I hope that you get this approach. If you have any queries, you can ask me in the comment section, and thank you so much for watching.